Economics, Acharya Nagarjuna University, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh, faculty fraternity of various prestigious colleges, dear faculty friends of host college, and my dear students community, good afternoon to one and all. I extend a hearty and special welcome to Dr. K. Madhubabu Garu, Associate Professor, Head Department of Economics, Acharya Nagarjuna University, research investigator, researcher, publisher, line member in several professional bodies like IEA, ISLE, Vice President of ISA, Joint Secretary APAE, and and IEA, Visiting Professor of School of Planning and Architecture, Chief Warden, ANU, NSS Coordinator, Best International Publication Award from ANU. I think by seeing this biodata, we all know he attained a number of posts in ANU and both inside and outside the campus. So, welcome you, sir, to our mates and from our college and from our department. And morning we had one talk, and yesterday we had two talks given by Professor Ch.S.D.St. Raju Garu. Day one first session, gender inequalities and gender gap, and yesterday afternoon Dr. Bhavani Akkipeddi, she gave a talk on increasing unemployment amongst women uneducated. And today morning we had N. Manimekhalai, Chair and Social Science Director, Department of Women's Studies, Bharatidasan University, Tiruchirappalli, on the gender equality is a prerequisite for the sustainable development. And now we have Dr. K. Madhubabu, a topic STEP, that is Support to Child and Empowerment Program for Women. Before listening his talk, and I request Vice Sailaja, Assistant Professor in Politics, to introduce our today's resource person to the gathering. Sailaja, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great honor and privilege for me to introduce our today's resource person, K. Madhubabu Garu. K. Madhubabu Garu is an associate professor, head Department of Economics in Acharya Nagarjuna University, Gunturu, Andhra Pradesh. He received his PhD, MPhil, and master degree in economics from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. Doctorate of Literature from University of South America. He started his career as research investigator for 9 projects at Economics Research Center, Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. He has 20 years of experience and research in the area of agriculture economics. He is well known for his 65 publications in various national and international journals. He has attended and presented 98 papers in national seminars and 6 papers in international conferences. 12 PhDs and 3 MPhil were awarded under his guidance so far. Currently, 12 scholars and working for PhD, MPhil, and 5 postdoctoral fellows are pursuing their research work under his guidance. He published 1 book and edited 5 books. He prepared study material for online MA economics courses offered by Acharya Nagarjuna University. He is the life member in several professional bodies like Indian Economic Association, Indian Society of Labor Economics, Vice President of Indian Society of Agriculture Marketing, Joint Secretary of the Andhra Pradesh Economic Association, Joint Secretary of the South India. He has delivered lectures for the students and employees in various organizations. He is the visiting professor to School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, sponsored by Ministry of HRD, Government of India. He has taken up additional assignment as coordinator for UGC, remedial coaching for SC, ST, OBC, and minority students of Acharya Nagarjuna University. He served as an additional chief warden for boys' hostel in ANU. He received Best International Publication Award from Acharya Nagarjuna University and the NSS Coordinator of Acharya Nagarjuna University. At present, he holds the position of Coordinator of UG exams and Coordinator and Chairman for Boards of Studies to Sri Babu Jagjivanram Chair AN. Welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks for the wonderful introduction about our Dr. K. Madhbabu Garu. Uh, Pleasure to invite our resource person, Dr. K. Madhbabu Garu, Associate Professor and Head Department of Economics, Acharya Nagarjuna University, to address the participant and share his views and enlighten us on STEP program, that is support to training and empowerment program for women. Sir, please, over to sir.
Madam, thank you. A nice introduction. Um, First of all, I would like to congratulate the choosing this current interest of topic on gender inequality in the new millennium and new initiatives. First, I congratulate the St. Theresa's College for Women and entire team of this today, today national webinar coordinator. And first and foremost, my heartful thanks to uh, the principal, Sister Maritina De Mello, and convener, Dr. P. Ratnameri, head Department of Social Sciences of College for Women, St. Teresa's College for Women, Elur. And my special thanks to Dr. Sailaja, who introduced me very nicely and effectively. Thank you once again. It is a great honor for me to deliver this lecture on support to training and employment program for women, STEP. That's what we call STEP program. But I think this is very technical part. When you go through this your webinar brochure, Sir Professor C.S.N. Rajgaru and other resource persons delivered different aspects related to women empowerment and women aspects. Overall, gender inequality and unemployment and other programs. The STEP program is a little bit difficult to me to present before you in a befitting manner. But I will try to present my topic, present to before you my topic as a this aspect. First, we start with yeah, my entire presentation will be divided into two different aspects. First, I would like to start with this welfare of women and plan-wise, whatever the government of India has taken the steps for development of women since 1951 to today, and would like to give the concept of this support to training and employment program for women STEP program and major objectives of this scheme and whatever the services are covered under this scheme and some of the sectors and how it is implemented in the sector is also another important presentation in my lecture, and number of beneficiaries, rule and regulations of the rules and regulations of this support to training and employment program for women, that the STEP, and some technical aspects related to STEP program is also I would like to present before you, like a duration of the project and implementing agencies of STEP and project formulation, project assistance, project evaluation, all these aspects I would like to give you before the our guest body. So I would like to start with this. First, I would like to give online introduction about the STEP program. The scheme aims to this provides skills and that gives employability to women and to provide competences and skills that enable women become a self-employed and entrepreneurs. Means the government intention is to create some technical and technology and skills and technical aspects to our women employees. The 60 those who are above the 16 years of the female are eligible for this step program. So the before discuss this in detail of this STEP program, I would like to give some outlines regarding to understand the intention of this STEP. India's female population as per 2011 census is 498 millions, and it's constitute nearly 48.26% of the total population. Means it is nothing but the 50% of the population are female population in our India. Of this female population, 91.40 million are in workforce and 90% of them are in the informal sector, which is the no legislative protection and with the worst condition of the working by the female population in our India. So the 50 though where this 50% population is constitute this entire population, the 91% of the people are working female workers are working in worst conditions and without any legal rights and protection. This is the situation of the women workers in our India. So assistance under this scheme would be available in any sector, including agriculture, horticulture, food processing, handlooms, and tailoring, etc. Means nearly the 75% of the female population is rural and mostly belongs to the subsistence sector. But already I mentioned that the situation of the working women conditions. In particularly in agriculture, women mostly undertaken labor-intensive and drudgery-prone activities like mainly the transplanting, weeding, harvesting, and post-harvesting operations also having very drudgery things. So the works also in the allied fields such as animal husbandry, forestry, plantation, fishing, etc. Also, the where the women people are involved in the works are very luxurious things. The most often the economic activities undertaken by the rural women on their own farm or in animal husbandry get discussed as household work and remain unreported. Means recently there is a big talk is going on the unpaid activities, unpaid works of women, which are the more than half of the share of the national income. So the government of India, since independence, is making concentrated efforts to bring women into the mainstream of development through its various programs and schemes. But the improvement in rural women's condition is painfully slow, because if you understand the situation of these women population and women workers in the India, it is the situation it is the situation to understand the condition. So before discuss this main our today's topic, which is the step support to training and employment program for women, I would like to give a brief review on the women developmental programs of during the planning period. It is little. Please bear with me 2 or 3 minutes because to understand the situation and then background work of the introducing this support training and employment program for women. The necessity to understand the necessity of this program, you would know about the background of the situation of women farmers, women workers, and more particularly what the steps taken by the our government is also more important to understand for the development of women in India. Let us see why, because if you carefully examine our plan-wise aspects, first we are start with the welfare of the women, welfare to development, development to employment, employment to skill-based employment. These four are the four different aspects regarding the women developmental aspects in our planning period. Would like to present that issues. In the first 5-year plan, focused on the welfare of women, and it was clubbed with the welfare of other disadvantaged groups. So the plan emphasized that in order to fulfill women's legitimate role in the family and the community, adequate services need to be promoted for women's welfare. In our Hindu society, our Hindu hierarchical structure, women are the suppressed, or and then the disadvantages groups, social backgrounds, disadvantaged groups like a Dalit and other groups are doubly suppressed groups. So we want to understand the situation of this one. So in the second plan, emphasized the need for special attention to problems of women workers, since they were comparatively less organized and suffered from certain social prejudice and physical disabilities. So the plan suggested that speedy implementation of the principles of equal pay for equal work. That is the first important objective for these things, and provision of facilities for training to enable women to compete for higher jobs and expansion of opportunities for a part-time employment. So this is the second phase, second power plan step by the government, continuing the welfare approach of the first plan, that is mostly the Mahila Mandalas and community development programs were organized. In addition to this, is the programs are only available and only understand quickly adopted by the only forward community women's only. The main thrust of the third plan as regards women's development was on the expansion of female education. So the third plan identified the importance of the female education. In social welfare, the largest share was provided for expanding rural welfare services and condensed the courses of education. So the approach in the fourth plan was a continue to emphasize on women's education. As regards social welfare, the basic policy was to promote women's welfare with family as the base of operation. In the next, that the fifth 5-year plan gave priority to training of women in need of care and protection. Women from low income families, needy women with dependent children and working women. So the education, welfare, education, and education to the training. This is the evaluation of the over a period of time evaluation of the government programs for the upliftment of women. So the first 5-year plan emphasized on the welfare of women. It was only the sixth 5-year plan that there was a shift from welfare to development. This is the one of the important step by the government. The welfare is not only a motive, the development is also more important along with the welfare. That was the identified by the government of India. The International Women's Decade, that is 1975-85, had its impact on the planning process in India. As a result of persistent the lobbying of women's groups, the sixth plan made a significant departure from the past practices. So that the day by day in the 1975 and 85 onwards, the international women's had an impact of the different planning and different distance. So the women's development received recognition as a specific section, and a separate chapter was introduced in the plan document, which is a landmark in the history of women's development planning in India. And the same plan that declared that a fair share of employment opportunities would have to be created through poverty elevation programs, assuming that employment and income generation would be automatically lead to improvement in the status of women. Right from the sixth five-year plan, not only a priority given to the poverty elevation, the poverty elevation program with the generating of the employment opportunities and part of a woman is the important thing which we understand in the sixth five-year plan period. And a variety of programs were taken up under different sectors of development to raise the economic and social status of women. And particularly, the vocational training centers and industrial training institutes exclusively meant for women were set up. So that is the evaluation aspects of for the women developmental these things. And some of the programs are also meant for only development of women in India since 1982-83. For example, see the Integrated Rural Development Program (IRDP) accorded priority to women heads of households, and one third of the beneficiaries under TRISM, training for youth and self-employment, and they were women. And a new scheme called Development of Women and Children in Rural Area (DWACRA) was started in 1982-83. We know the impact of the DWACRA scheme in Andhra Pradesh particularly. Apart from these there was increased focus on education and health. Yeah, another important aspect was added in our developmental process in addition to training, education, and health also. In the seventh plan, continued the policy of sixth plan towards the women in order to raise their economic and social status and to bring them into the mainstream of national development. So they are identified they are identified the importance of the women role in the developmental aspects, and beneficiary oriented programs for women in different sectors were identified and promoted to reduce drudgery of women's day-to-day activities, research on improvement, agricultural implementation, better methods of sheep rearing and wool spinning, post-harvest practices, food processing, etc. were taken up for the to reduce the drudgeries and develop the technology based on these activities. So the approach to women development schemes in the eighth five-year plan marked benefits of development to employment. The plan ensured that the benefits of development from different sectors do not bypass the women. So in the eighth five-year plan, they were started the inclusive nature. The women also more priority, including in the mainstream of economic developmental activities. The plan with the human development as its major focus played a very important role in the development of women. A major thrust in the strategy for women's development was in the formation and strengthening of grassroots level women's groups, which would articulate local women's needs and play an important role in decentralized planning and implementation of the programs by the state government as well as the central governments also. So, in this direction, the ninth plan took a major step by the incorporating empowerment of women as one of the main objective of development during the plan period. To this effect, the approach to the plan was to create an enabling environment where women could freely exercise their rights both within and outside home as a equal partners along with the men. So that is the center concept of the women empowerment, which is taught in the ninth five-year plan onwards. In the year 2001 was declared as Women's Empowerment Year, and India has already adopted national policy for empowerment of women. During the ninth five-year plan onwards, a special women component element was introduced under which more than 30% of the funds in the women-related sectors were specifically earmarked for women's programs. That is from 2001 onwards. Particularly, Indira Mahila Yojana launched in 1995-96 has been recast after merging with the Mahila Samriddhi Yojana and renamed as Swayam Siddhi in 2001 onwards. The Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana was launched in 1999 with the objective of bringing the beneficiary families above the poverty line by the providing them income generating assets through a mix of bank credit and government subsidy. So the DBT direct benefit schemes also start from the 2001 onwards to through this program. Those who are above the below poverty line people also. For female, it is emphasized that 50% of self-help groups in each block should be exclusively of women who will account for at least 40% of the Swarozgaris. So, economic empowerment through entrepreneurial development in women is one of the possible approaches for achieving this end. So, empowerment of women is agriculture may be envisaged in terms of improvement of awareness, knowledge, and skill that makes effective use of local resources and takes account of the local needs and constraints which are helpful for the development and income generation programs for for to the women. So the National Commission for Self-Employed Women and Women in the Informal Sector, which made a situational review of women in the informal sector, had suggested introduction of protective measures which would ensure guarantee of employment and income generation minimum wages. So, welfare and support services, training and upgradation of the skills, etc. were need for the women development was identified by the National Commission for Self-Employment Women, which is constituted in 1988. So, towards this, and a program for women STEP was launched in 1986 as one of the measures to ensure well-being of women in the traditional informal sector. So the STEP program is in a 100% central government scheme is under implementation since 1986-87. This is the background history of the our STEP program in India. Or it indicates the importance and need of the program. So the support to training and support to training and employment program for women is it shows the importance and importance and need of the hour of the program. When we see this right from through first plan to this now the 2021 and 2022, where the government of India is announced Amrit Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Part of this one, the government wants to train the 500 million women, which is the 42 million per year, is the objective for this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav part. So means 75 years of independence year. So the training is provided to poor and marginalized women in traditional traders, which largely in the informal sector. So that is the intention of this program. The program strives to build up the traditional knowledge of women and convert it into sustainable livelihood capacities. So that the capitation is the main things. So the support to training and employment program for women STEP program intention is to provide the training and skills to give the livelihood for the poor and marginalized women in those who are in the traditional traditional traders or traditional works. So let us see to understand the intention and concept of this STEP program. The this program of STEP aims to make a significant impact on women by upgrading skills for self and wage employment. The sequence of activities is emphasized as a mobilizing women in viable groups. Yeah, these two are the very, very important aspects to understand the concept of this step program, particularly the mobilizing the women and to create the viable groups to take up the projects and to improve their skills. So the improve their skills and arranging for productive assets or assets access to wage employment, to creating backward and forward linkages, improving and are arising for the support services, particularly to providing access to credit means that the some financial agencies or then credit or the banks particularly NABARD like that they want to establish separate centers to give the financial assistance to women, and awareness generation, the gender sensitization and nutrition and the nutritional education, which is the health aspect very important one, and sanitization, the sensation of the this project functionaries etc is also more important. Particularly, this support to training and employment program for women, this step advocates an integrated package of inputs aiming at the self-reliance and empowerment of women by enhancing their productivity and enabling them to take up income generating activities. The ultimate endeavor of each project should be develop the group to thrive on a self-sustaining basis in the marketplace with the minimal government support and intervention after the project period is over by the groups or whatever the these stakeholders. The program of STEP advocates the objective of extending training for upgradation of skills and sustainable employment for women through a variety of action oriented projects which employ women in large numbers. The scheme covers 8 traditional sectors of employment wise, that the agriculture, small animal husbandry, dairying and fisheries, handlooms, handcrafts, khadi and village industries, and sericulture aspects. So, these are all the important aspects related to this STEP program. And two more sectors, namely the social forestry and wasteland development, have been added later, and now locally appropriate sectors as recommended by the state government have also been incorporated. The multiplication, the implementation of the 1 minute. Madam, may I audible? Hello? Hello?
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Audible,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Please.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Continue. Yes, sir.
Yeah. 1 minute, 1 minute.
మొత్తం తీసుకుని మొత్తం తీసుకుని మొత్తం
లెక్చర్ ఉన్నాను రేపు కలుగుతాను 4 అయింది. ఎవరిని లోపలికి డోర్ లాక్ చేస్తాను. Yeah, sorry for the interruption, little inconvenience. Yeah, let us see that the implementation of this scheme during the seventh plan period and the subsequent years, that is from 1985 to 92, and also as per the advice given by the Ministry of Finance and the Planning Commission. So it was decided to formulate the schemes for strengthening of the existing programs, components, and thus make the program more effective in achieving the envisaged objectives. The scheme has also been evaluated by an independent agencies, and it has been suitably modified to achieve the envisaged objectives in a more effective and visible manner. Please meet all of your phones uh, to within 15 to 20 minutes. I will close my presentation and we'll have a discussion up to 3:30 or 4. Let us see. Please cooperate with me. And then objectives. The objectives of this scheme. Main objective of there are twofold objectives. To understand this aspect, there are four important objectives are chosen for the successful implementation of this scheme. The mobilizing women in a small viable groups and making facilities available through training access to credit and other inputs. Provide training for skills upgradation and enabling groups of women to take up employment come income generation programs of their own or to access wage employment. Provide support services for further improving and employment conditions of women and for access to healthcare, literacy, legal literacy, and other information. So, particularly the most of the scheme aims at providing us integrated packages of the following services to women to enable them economically more viable, independent, and raise their socio-economic status. So, upgradation of skill through training programs is also covered under these services. Better and sustainable employment opportunities and backward and forward linkages, facilitation of organization of women viable entrepreneurships, and support to services with the coverages of particularly health checkups, referral services, mobile aspects, and educational facilities. So, particularly these STEP programs are focused on some of the selected sectors like agriculture, animal husbandry, dairying, fisheries, handlooms, handicrafts, khadi, and village industries, sericulture, social forestry, wasteland development, and any other locally appropriated sectors which are the viable and give need of the training and successfully run by the any women groups. So the list of the sectors to be finalized and revised from the time to time by the ministry in consultation with the state government. Means it should be fulfill the local aspects and local government things. So that this includes the target groups to be covered under the STEP program includes the marginalized and asset class rural women and urban poor. This includes wage laborers, unpaid daily workers, female headed households, migrant laborers, tribal and other dispossessed groups. So, these are all the very important the group people which are need for the training and viable entrepreneur groups which are from marginalized women, particularly Dalits, SC means SC, ST, OBC, and minority groups. Those people who are living the below poverty line, people are also or need to the this covering of this targeted group. That the way, particularly wage laborers, unpaid daily workers, and female-headed households, migrant laborers, tribal and other disadvantaged groups people. Particularly, the beneficiaries under the project will be poor or assetless marginalized women with special focus on SC, ST households, women-headed households, and female below the poverty line. The special attention must be will be paid to women living in local districts already identified by the department or any institutions. Like in for example, in Andhra Pradesh, some ITDS regions like Araku, Paderu, and other Parvatipuram, and our some other Sri Salem, like that. That particularly the geographically disadvantaged areas and plain area below poverty line group people also. Organization to identify areas and regions and activities which women are particularly disadvantaged. So, let us see some of the number of beneficiaries. The number of beneficiaries may vary from 200 to 10,000 in a one particular project, depending upon the nature of the project and capacity of the organization and topographical, demographical area proposed to be covered by the project proposal. However, the family members of the women beneficiaries will not be counted as beneficiaries to decide the number of beneficiaries of the project proposal unless the number of family is a direct trainees. So let us see some of the rules and regulations and other aspects. So before discuss these rules and regulations, I would like to list of the traders as per the cost category prescribed. Means there were 40 types of categories were identified by the central government, including agriculture and automotive, BT, wellness, and then banking, accounts, insurance, like this. I will give you the list and how we get the finance assistance and where we get the finance assistance for this program is also I will give the details later. So the program will be implemented in the sectors listed as above. Already, what I mentioned from the agriculture, horticulture, sericulture, other all. As the program is to cover the various sectors different from each. The cost of the project is bound to vary from project to project. It has been therefore decided that the National Agriculture Bank and Rural Development, that is NABARD, approved norms will be made applicable to the project to be sanctioned under STEP scheme. So, in the areas, in the cases of the projects where NABARD norms are not available, the advice of the concerned technical ministry will be obtained before a project is sanctioned with the approval of the project sanctioning committee. So, however, it will be ensured that per capita cost does not exceed 16,000 rupees per project, means each individual. As per practices, the technical feasibility and item-wise cost of the project will be ascertained in consultation with the concerned technical ministry or department before a project sanctioned with a approval of the project sanction committee. This is the all the technical process of to get the benefit from the step program by women, those who are want to get training or then financial assistance. However, the services of other agencies, institutes may be also availed of for free appraisal of the project proposal or technical advice if required or if they fail. In sanctioning projects, it will be ensured that the tampering budget is prepared temporary projects prepared to so that the project becomes sustainable of its own the completion of the term of the entire term of the a project. So a particular project will be for a duration of up to 5 years depending upon the nature kind of activities and the number of beneficiaries to be undertaken. Already the number may be up to 2000 to 10,000. It depends on the demographic and geographical conditions. So whatever the things, the step project must be up to 5 years. They may get the financial assistance. And let us see what are the implementing agencies for this scheme. Is proposed to be implemented through public sector organizations and district rural development agencies from the public side and some other agencies also like federation cooperatives and voluntary organizations non-government voluntary organizations working in rural areas with legal status as a society registered under the Society Registration Act of 1860 or under the corresponding whatever the acts by the particular state governments. And recipient of financial assistance under STEP are required to be bodies, organization or agencies working in rural urban areas, although their headquarters may be located in the urban area. They must be registered at least for 3 years, means experience or existence in the sector concerned, whatever the sector, at the time of approaching for assistance. So, implementing agencies will also identify a set of link agencies which would facilitate the implementation of the project through their expertise, resources, and experiences. Linkages agencies will also include voluntary organization active in the field of employment and women development aspects. So, while selecting non-government organizations as implementing agencies, it would be ensured that the selected organizations have adequate infrastructure and technical expertise in the sector. The financial soundness with facilities, resource experiences, and administrative capabilities for undertaking the project. Women development corporations, wherever they exist, would be involved in identifying economically viable projects, preparing project report, and arranging for required training, facility, access to credit, etc. is also concerned for the this step scheme by the government. So linkages with state departments concerned and with the existing programs of the state and the central government will be established so as to enable the beneficiaries to optimally utilize their services. The implementing agencies will be assistance by the state department involved in women's development to effectively coordinate to draw upon the resource of existing infrastructure and services under program like ICDS, where we very famous in Andhra Pradesh also for playing very important role in for women upliftment and empowerment of women in rural Andhra. I have particularly ICDS, Dwakra, and Mahila Samaikya IRDP. The ICDS, Dwakra, and IRDP and Mahila Mandals are playing very vital role for these things for development of empowerment of women in Andhra Pradesh and as well as the India. So let us see the how we formulate the project. The first element of the project formulation exercise by the implementing agencies would be to undertake an analysis of the sector proposed to ascertain the socio-economic status and role of women in the sector. Where we selected that project should be, we must be identify the importance of women and particularly that who are the cover the program by the women, their socio-economic status is the very important essence of this project. So the particular disadvantages and discrimination faced by the women will be identified, and the causal factors which lead to exploitation and oppression of women in the sectors would be delined clearly, and the necessity and strategy for a specific interventions will be prepared. So the special attention will be paid to pre-project activities include the conduct of benchmark survey, which will be an essential prerequisite for every project under the scheme and would help in developing a database from time to time for the assessment of the project performance with respect to various indicators developed and eventually in assessing the impact of the project on the status of women, the beneficiary of this through the STEP project. It is very important essence in the formation of the project The project must be given priority to oppressed and marginalized groups and needy people must be covered through this project. And a meticulously conducted benchmark survey can generate viable information on the women employment in the concerned sectors, based also helping in the identification of beneficiaries for the project. In each of the project to be implemented under the scheme, one of the major concern will be raising the standards of living of women and their families through generation of additional income from the project's economic activities. So, this will enable the beneficiaries women and their families to rise above the poverty line. Each project proposal will be required to work out the viability of the economic activity. The cost of inputs and expected outputs is to be valued at current market prices and the existing infrastructure. So that the market aspect is the another important thing. The production, training, viable production is one aspect. The marketing of that products is the another most important, which needs the government help more effectively. So, as a part of the the formulation exercise, the implementing agency will have to ensure that inputs relating to health and nutrition education, adult literacy, awareness generation, and women's rights and health checkup, etc., is also more important for this formulation. It would be provide to the beneficiaries of STEP project in consultation with state health departments, directorates of adult education, central social welfare board, and state social welfare boards to ensure that all round capacity building of women beneficiaries takes place. The project range may be vary from already what I mentioned in earlier, that the 2000 to 10,000 beneficiary per project as per this one. The project proposal should be also elaborate the strategy to address these activities, particularly the mobilize women into the viable groups and improve their skills, arrange for productive assets, create the backward and forward linkages, and improve arrange the for support services, health, and particularly childcare, education, and other aspects. And the provide access to credit, undertaking awareness, generation, import the nutrition education, the sensitize project functionaries and coverage of the services. And particularly, yeah, I will give you some the listed of the 40 types of works were identified by the government of India in their gazette. Particularly, the STEP program is covered 40 types of activities. I would like to give some of these things. And these 40 types of activities and other things are the training centers are identified in there are 21 states were selected, particularly in Andhra Pradesh, the Vijayawada urban agglomeration and Visakhapatnam, Guntur. The three parts are the STEP training programs are available. Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam, and Guntur, three important parts, and particularly for agricultural aspects. The agriculture aspects, but that the apiculture and home decorate art and farm machinery, animal husbandry, farm mechanization, precision farming, and fisheries and allied sectors. And agriculture, particularly the plantation, horticulture, and floriculture, poultry. So, for these activities, for these activities, the training may be provided in STEP centers. And for April, mainly the garment, manufacturing, fashion design, and garment making. Garment making is also available in these farming centers. So automotive, yeah, particularly manufacturing and automotive repairs, automotive sales also meant for the women aspects and give the step to these activities. And beauty and wellness, of course, the most of the educated ladies and the aware people are running these activities, beauty and wellness, particularly spa, Tirupati and home decorate are undone. And BFSI, the banking, accounts and insurance, and the capital goods, particularly fabrication, electronic, mechanical aspects, and the chemicals, manufacturing of chemicals and biochemicals, plastic processing, and fragrance, flavor, and perfumes. These are all the household activities and little technology based things and small. Hello.
Hema,
Please meet your phone within 5 minutes. I will be close my lecture. This is almost all end. Huh? And some of the things.
No problem, sir. You can carry on. Okay, sir.
Okay, okay, it is over. I think. So the capital goods, particularly the chemicals, manufacturing for chemicals and biochemicals, plastic processing, and construction aspects like as a construction, rental, equipment, fabrication, paint, woodworks, bamboo fabrication, and carpentry, education and skills developmental aspects, and counseling skills. Counseling skills is also the one of the important aspects for the women employability and employment aspects. So the electronic system design and manufacture, and consumers electronic sales and services, and fast moving consumer goods like the making of the fragrance things, powder aspects of that. So, and food processing industries, particularly food processing sector, such as dairy products, fruits, vegetable products, and cereal products, food grain, including milling, edible oils and fats, meat and meat products, fish and fish products, sweets and the bread and bakery, spicy and condiments, and beverages, aerated water and soft drinks, packages of foods and products, and furniture making, and gems and jewelry manufacturing, particularly home decorating arts, green skills, and handloom handicrafts, and healthcare, instrumentation, iron and steel, the IT items, leather footwear, and leather sports and goods manufacturing, life sciences manufacturing of the pharmaceuticals, and management like a materials management and business and commerce aspects, and particularly production and manufacturing, marine engineering, more particularly the marine engineering, ship construction, and other things, media and entertainment, animation, production support, media, printing, film production. These are all the part of the given the training to step program. And mining, of course, maybe it is in a the costly, and musical instruments manufacturing, and power and energy, electrical industrialization, and retail store operations, and retail business, rubber manufacturing, rubber and nursery plantation, and security, fire safety engineering, and safety equipments, sports goods manufacturing, telecom, network infrastructure management, and textiles, spinning, wiring textiles, tourism and hospitality, particularly food production and cooking, hospitality, production and making. I mean, traditional. I mean, the another important thing is the traditional conventional sectors, glasswares, painting, toy making, clock and watch repairs, other sectors. Any trade not covered in any other categories, which is the local based industries, are very important things for these activities. These are all the 40 types of activities were identified by the government of India, and not only confined to these activities, the local based activities also covered. Local based activities also may be considered for this one. So with these things, that the this the pattern of assistance, 100% of assistance, financial assistance provided by the government, looking particularly the project staff and administrative cost, training and stipend, training or trainees, skills upgradation, reinforcement training, come other aspects also. This one, to understand all these, the under more particular, the training program, what I called this step program, need to know about the more important, more on the this step on technical administrative aspects. To to provide access to credit, undertaking awareness generation, impart the nutrition of the these programs. So with these things, our government of India is want to introduce this program, and particularly India has set an ambitious to training 500 million individuals by 2022 to give the training. Sure, to give the training to 42 million each year. So if you see that the program, the step scheme beneficiaries right from 2010 onwards, there are some statistical data is also available to understand this one. 20 to 20, I think, uh, 20, 2012 13, there are 30,481 beneficiaries are covered through this program, and 2013-14 there are 31,447, and 2014-15 24,000 to 24,000 women are benefited through this program. So the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav year, that is 75 years of independence, the government wants to give the training to 500 million individuals by 2022. It means it is a, if they want to give, they want to give the 42,000 millions per year for to implementation of this program. So this is about the STEP program. It is a really need of the hour of the Indian women people, Indian women workers who needs the training, skills, and employability and upgradation of their work, and to earn more income for their sustainable livelihood. This is about the my presentation. Thank you very much for patiently listening the my entire talk on the STEP program. Once again, my heartful thanks to organizers to giving me this
Yes.
opportunity. Now it is open for whether we have any within 10 minutes we'll have a discussions, or otherwise I have an by 3:30 I have an another scheduled program. Escape button.
Yes, thank you, sir, for sharing views on STEP support training and empowerment program for women. Really, you have enlightened us, especially our students and other colleague friends, through your program. Really, it is highly informative and a highly enlightenment program. And you highlighted the welfare of women in plan wise, in elaborate manner, and these vocational training centers, IRDP, TRISM, Dwakra and all, and Indira Mahila Yojana and SCSY programs, and training for women in informal sector and women to become self-employed and entrepreneurs, and also schemes covered under STEP program. Really, You gave a nice and enlightened talk to our student community. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Now, girls, it is open for interaction, and if you have any queries, you could ask sir, and he will clarify. And he has another program he has to move. Please do it fast. Yes, girls. Hello. Ah.
Okay,
Yes.
madam. Ratnamary, madam.
Yes,
You,
sir.
you please ask the questions. I think it is in a project. STEP is a program which
Yes,
is
sir. Yes.
conducted by the organized by the central government and state government also. Um, we have an office at Vijayawada also and Guntur also. You may
Yes.
encourage your students to get uh, the training and start the small entrepreneurs like a photoshopping and photography and cell phone repairs, these things. So I think now we are going to organize this 2 days webinar. Who is your technical assistants? Maybe a gent,
Yes, sir.
but this is the program we can organize with the skilled girl faculty, girl students. They
Sure,
are
sir.
get the learn while earn
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, we could follow your.
programs. Yeah, this step program is meant for that.
Yes, sir.
But it is an
Definitely.
excellent program chosen by your college. This is the topic. Really, I need to learn more for this lecture. When I go through this literature for this program, I to get more information for this program. It is very excellent program. It's chosen
Yes.
by your college and your social sciences team. Really, I congratulate your social sciences department to create awareness for your students like these programs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your appreciation. And sure, our students are motivated, and they too will become young and dynamic entrepreneurs. Definitely,
Thank
and they will follow your words. And hope our students will start entrepreneurship in future.
you.
Uh,
Definitely.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, girls, if you have any queries. Sir is encouraging and asking, just we should follow the step program in future. Definitely, some may maybe continue for higher studies, but some may drop. No, especially this kind of students community, you could use and you can utilize this scheme given by the government. Really, sir, your guidelines and your support is always. Useful to the students community, and I too will encourage in my department, especially the whole BA. We have the 200 students. At least very few students will start also. Will be feel happy and by observing their empowerment. Definitely. Emma, anybody, ఎవరైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతున్నారా? And SAR has another program. Hello, guys. No questions?
Okay.
Hello, guys. Even staff, anybody, dear colleague friends, so you also can raise some of questions if you want.
Okay, madam. I have to share my entire presentation through your mail. If
And
any student want to follow that program,
yes, sir.
share that inputs to them.
Yes,
Huh?
sure, sir. Sure, sir. You could send. Please send that PPT.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you, madam.
yes.
I am.
Sir,
Wait.
sir, thank you, sir. You have enlightened us. I have learned many things. Of course, we will follow your steps for future. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Amma. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Gus. Okay. So with this, once again, thank you, Sir Madhubabu Garu. I think I now not only now, and I was the research scholar in Nachar and Nagarjuna University. From that time onwards, I known him very well. He is a very dynamic and young. We used to call a dynamic and young professor. I am now almost before. I mean, I left the university. I think more than 10 years. But even then, now he become so many. I mean, memberships in so many committees and this and that. Really, sir, we are. I'm very happy. A student of, I mean, especially the research scholar of our department. And once again, thank you for your contribution to our national webinar, especially successful webinar. Like you, we have to, I mean, I would take and take your guidelines by way of programs and by way of your, I mean, subject contribution. And in future also, hope so, and we will invite to our departmental webinars and seminars and all. And now, thank you once again from bottom of my heart, from our college and from my department. And now I invite I invite R. Chittema ma'am, Assistant Professor in Politics, to propose vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. As we come to the close of this 2 days national webinar, it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the Department of Social Sciences, Ch.S.D.St.Theresa Autonomous College for Women, Eluru. Let me start by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to the God Almighty for His abundant blessings showered upon us. I would like to thank Professor Madhubab Garu, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Economics, Acharya Nagarjuna University, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. In spite of his busy schedule and sharing his views on STEP program, it means support to training and employment program for women. Schemes covered under STEP program, welfare of women in 5-year plan, and also enlighten the STEP program in a detailed manner. Thank you, sir, for your gracing the event and also a great contribution for our national webinar. I thank our beloved principal, Dr. Sister Marietta Di Mello, who is sources of inspiration and motivation for her guidance and support in organizing this 2 days webinar, national webinar. Thank you, sister. I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. P. Ratnamary, head of the Department of Social Sciences, for her nice execution and successful organization of 2 days national webinar. I would like to express my gratitude to all the esteemed 2 days delegates of this webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I thank all the HODs of various departments and various colleges, colleague friends, and host colleagues I thank all the students for your active participation and made this national webinar successfully. I express my special thanks to Tommy sir for your technical support. Thank you once again.
Okay, madam, thank you. May I leave?
Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, girls. Thank you, one and all, for your active participation. And by God's grace and our